All right, in this video, we are going to convert these equations from standard form into vertex form. I'm going to use a method called completing the square. And there are four questions in this video. It starts at the easiest and the questions get harder and harder. So let's take a look at the first question over here. The first thing I want to do is I want to bracket my first two terms in the question. Then I want to factor out an a value if possible, but in this question, there's no a value to factor out, so I don't have to worry about that. The next thing I want to do is take this number here, divide it by 2 and square it. So 6 divided by 2 is 3, 3 squared is 9, so 9 is my magic number. You want to add and subtract your magic number inside the bracket. Next, we want to take the negative number outside the bracket, and when we do that, we multiply it with what's in the front. I just have a 1 here in the front because my a value is 1. So I have x squared plus 6x plus 9. This just becomes a minus 9 outside the bracket because we're multiplying that by 1. Then last step, you want to perfect square this bracket. So square root of x squared is x. Take the sign from the middle. Square root of 9 is 3. Put a square outside the bracket. And then combine the like terms on the outside. So this is just negative 14. And this is my final solution in vertex form. Let's try for the second example now, which is slightly harder. In this example, I notice I have an a value. So I start with my bracket, but my second step is to factor out the a value. So I'm going to factor out a negative 2 here. I'm left with x squared minus 4x, then plus 3. Then I take this value, divide it by 2 and square it to find my magic number, which is just positive 4 in this case. I'm going to add and subtract the magic number inside the bracket. Then you want to take the negative number outside the bracket, but when you do that, remember you have to multiply it by the front. Negative 4 times negative 2 is positive 8. And last step, I'm going to perfect square the bracket here. Square root of x squared is x. Sign in the middle is a negative. Square root of 4 is 2. Put a square outside the bracket. Combine the like terms and I will get plus 11. So that is my final solution in vertex form for the second question. Let's go to the third and fourth question now, which are slightly harder than those first two questions. Take a look at the third question here. I'm going to start by bracketing my first two terms. Then I can common factor out this 4, and I'm left with x squared minus 3x minus 7. Then I need to find my magic number. That's just negative 3 divided by 2 squared. Negative 3 over 2 squared. Negative 3 squared is 9. 2 squared is 4. So that's just 9 over 4, my magic number. I'm going to add and subtract that inside the bracket. Plus 9 over 4 minus 9 over 4 minus 7. Then I need to pull the negative number outside the bracket. And when I do that, I'm going to multiply by the number in the front. So negative 9 over 4 times 4 is just negative 36 divided by 4, which is just negative 9. So make sure you know how to do your multiplications with fractions and whole numbers. Really important for this concept. last step, I'm going to perfect square this here. So square root of x squared is x. Just have a minus sign. Square root of 9 over 4. Square root of 9 is 3. Square root of 4 is 2. Combine these two, it will just give me negative 16. So as you can see in these harder questions, we will have some fractions in our final solution. Let's go to the last and the hardest question of this video. Bracket my first two terms. Common factor out a negative 3, and I'm left with x squared minus 5x minus 4. I just realized I made a mistake with this question here. I'm going to change this last question over here. I'm going to rewrite it down. It's actually negative 2x squared plus 15x minus 4. So I did make a mistake with writing down the actual question. Here's the fix over here. So I start by bracketing my first two terms, then I'm going to common factor out on negative 2 because you have to common factor out your a value. And now you're left with x squared minus 15 over 2x minus 4. To find my magic number, I have to do negative 15 over 2 divided by 2 squared, which is negative 15 over 4 squared, which is 225 over 16. So finding the magic number for this last question is a bit difficult, but I'm going to add and subtract that inside my bracket. Now I want to take the negative number outside and multiply it by the front. So negative 225 times over 16 times negative 2, negative and negative will become positive, and this 2 and this 16 will cancel to make it just an 8. So now we need to perfect square the brackets. So square root of x squared is x. Take the sign from the middle. Square root of 225 is 15. Square root of 16 is 4. Put a square outside the bracket. I need to combine these two like terms. I'll do it on the side here. 225 over 8 minus 4 over 1. So I'm going to multiply the top and bottom by 8. That's 225 over 8 minus 32 over 8. And 225 minus 32 is just 193 over 8. And that is my final solution to this question over here. Pretty much as difficult as it gets in terms of whole numbers and fractions. If you made it to the end of this video and you found this content helpful, please hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.